Hey everybody, how's it going? So South Africa is not having a good month. To start with, they're in the middle of COVID hell right now. Case numbers are increasing exponentially, driven by this scary Delta variant, and the vaccine rollout has been struggling to get off the ground. And now there are riots. Thousands of people have been injured, more than 100 have died, over 2,000 have been arrested for looting and destruction. In some areas, retailers have been forced to close. Vaccine clinics have been forced to close. It's so bad that the army has been called in to help get things under control. For those who don't know what's going on in South Africa, this is all happening because the former president, Jacob Zuma, has been imprisoned for contempt of court. He's been under investigation for corruption. I mean a lot of sketchy things happened during his administration. And so he's under investigation and he hasn't been cooperating. He failed to show up to hearings, that kind of thing. So he was sentenced to 15 months in prison for contempt of court, and his supporters are mad about it. That's how these riots started. I've got a lot of loved ones in South Africa, so yeah, I'm worried. As far as I can tell, they are not in the direct line of fire, but who knows what will happen. One of the key features of riots is that they are so unpredictable. So everyone is keeping safe as much as they can, stocking up on groceries just in case, staying home, which they're supposed to be doing anyway because South Africa has tightened its lockdown. But here's what gets to me. Because I'm South African by birth and I still have strong connections with South Africa, the Facebook algorithm lets me see a lot of things that are posted about South Africa. And since these riots started, I am seeing a lot of memes and posts about how South Africa was this orderly, well-run nation back in the 70s. The parks were well maintained, the streets weren't full of potholes, the services were running smoothly. You know, these were the good old days when South Africa was a first world country. And frankly, I find that claim to be ludicrous and bizarre and hugely offensive to most of South Africa's population. Do people not remember what was going on in South Africa in the 70s? We were in the middle of apartheid. Black people were routinely arrested and put in jail just for walking down the street in so-called white neighborhoods. Police brutality against black prisoners was not just accepted, a lot of times it was expected. The Group Areas Act meant that white people were given the lion's share of the land to live on, leaving everyone else to be crammed into whatever land was left over. This created chronic overcrowding. Millions of people had no access to clean water, sanitation, healthcare services, or a lot of the basic necessities of life. Whenever the government decided that it wanted another parcel of land for white people, whoever was living on that land would be forced out. A lot of times they would barely have time to grab whatever belongings they could before bulldozers came in and destroyed their homes right in front of them. This was a first world country? If a country is only first world for 10% of the population, that's not a first world country. The good old days were a time of unspeakable trauma for the majority of South Africans. Yes, South Africa has its problems today. Yes, life has become more difficult for a lot of white people. And yes, the transition to post-apartheid governance has not gone as well as a lot of people hoped it would. But the apartheid era was not the good old days. It was a time when black people could be sent to prison on Robben Island just for speaking out against the government of the day. White people who spoke out could be imprisoned or they could lose their jobs. I had an aunt who was a teacher and she was fired because she would not recognize the national anthem of a country that was treating most of its citizens like crap. First world country? No! South Africa in the 70s was not a first world country, and the first world amenities that were available to 10% of the population were built on the backs of the 90% who were oppressed. South Africa is in deep trouble right now. A lot of work will have to be done to rebuild what is currently being destroyed. But we must never, ever forget South Africa's history. And anyone who claims that apartheid-era South Africa was a first world country is brushing aside the part of history that is not convenient to their narrative. That's it for today's video. If you are in South Africa, please be safe. I am so worried about you guys. If you have loved ones in South Africa, I'm thinking of you. I hope that your loved ones and mine will get through this okay. And everyone else, please spare a thought for South Africa. They could use some positive energy right now. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe and well, live your best life, and be kind. Bye.